This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. Tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, folks. Tonight, the Knicks go on the road. A 3-game road trip, ladies and gentlemen. They'll play the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Tomorrow night, they play the New Orleans Pelicans. And then they're on the way to Cleveland. They get a 2-day break. Then they're on the way to Cleveland to play the Cavs on October the 31st. And then they play the Cavs on November the 1st. So the Knicks begin a stretch of 4 games and 6 nights or something like that. What a way to start the season, ladies and gentlemen. What a way to start the season. I do want to remind you that my channel has been demonetized. So if you'd like to support the channel, you can hit my Cash App, $ nothing but Knicks. It's pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. You'll also see it up on the screen, and you'll see it on the next screen as well. You'll also be able to hit me on PayPal, and you'll see that link on the next screen, ladies and gentlemen. And I do want to let you know this. For any fans that are listening that own businesses, I'm going to venture into a different revenue model besides just YouTube monetization, because I probably won't be monetized for another 3 months, and then we'll see what happens then. It's too much to get into right now. I tell you this, it's just simply not fair the way that they're doing it. But anyway, I'll make a separate video to talk about that for any potential content creators out there or content creators that want to get involved. Just be careful of what YouTube considers reused content. Just remember that. And even though it's considered by YouTube to be reused, it's not. I mean, they say that majority of my channel is reused content, and that's wrong. But you're not here to listen to that. You're here to talk about the New York Knicks, and we're going to talk about the New York Knicks. But I'm going to jump into a new revenue model, which is going to be based on sponsorships. Okay? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. If you own a business and you're interested in working on a sponsorship or an ad revenue for the channel, reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat so you can get that, ladies and gentlemen. Some quick news before we get into breaking down the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks. You probably seen the news yesterday that the referees admitted that they were wrong in calling a flopping foul on Jalen Brunson. They called a flop on Jalen Brunson when he came down on what's his name's foot. Can't even think of his name right now, but they called a flopping foul on Jalen Brunson. All right. They went back. The referees went back and looked at it and said it shouldn't have been called a flopping foul. It should have been called a foul on what's his name, the other guy. I don't know why his name is slipping my mind right now. But it should have been called a foul on him, and he should have been looked at as a flagrant foul. So there you have it. You know what I mean? And that was a critical time in Wednesday night's game. Very, very critical. Very critical. And listen, there were a couple of bad calls, ladies and gentlemen, in that Celtics game. Right? Couple of bad calls. One was when Jaylen Brown mauled R.J. Barrett, and it led to a Jason Tatum. That's the guy I'm thinking of. There it is. Finally got it. Had to look it up real quick. Jason Tatum Jason Tatum came under Brunson. Brunson landed on his foot. Brunson fell. They called a flopping foul on Brunson. The Celtics went to the line, knocked down a free throw, and it should have been a foul on Jason Tatum, and they should have looked at it to see if it was a flagrant foul. Critical call that the referees missed. Another critical call was when R.J. Barrett went to the basket and Jaylen Brown mauled R.J. Barrett. I thought that was a bad non-call. I mean, clearly, Jaylen Brown literally grabbed his jersey, ladies and gentlemen, and the referees missed the call. They missed the call. Another one was when IQ contested. I don't even remember who went up for the shot, but IQ, straight up and down. They called a foul on IQ. I'm not blaming the game on the refs. The Knicks missed 12 free throws. I blame the game, the loss, on the New York Knicks. But come on, you got to get those calls right. Because when RJ didn't get that foul call on Jaylen Brown, it led to a 10-0 run. Obviously, the thing with Jalen Brunson was critical, and the non-foul call on or the foul call on IQ was critical. Those were critical calls or missed calls. You know, got to get those calls right, man. Got to get those calls right. Hopefully the referees will be better tonight as the Knicks travel to Atlanta to take on the Hawks, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully they'll be better tonight. There are really no injuries to report for either team, at least nothing of significance. The New York Knicks are coming into the game fully healthy. Very glad to hear that. Coming into the game fully healthy. The Atlanta Hawks, I believe they have one person who is missing, one player missing. I'm going to bring his name up right now, but I don't think he's of significance as far as these lineups are concerned or these games are concerned. I don't want to say he's insignificant. Oh, it's Wesley Matthews. He's out with a right calf strain. I don't know how much he would have played anyway. Maybe he does. Maybe he does get playing time. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's that significant that Wesley Matthews is out. It's a good player, played defense, knocked down some threes, but the Atlanta Hawks got some guys out there that can ball. All right, so both teams coming into the game, for the most part, healthy. Right? And let's hope that the Knicks remain healthy for the majority of the season. So with that being said, let's take a look at lineups, ladies and gentlemen. All right, for the New York Knicks, you got Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. And for the Atlanta Hawks, you got Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, and Clint Capella. Those are the two starting fives. That's what you're looking at on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. And just overall, looking at these starting lineups, they seem to be pretty evenly matched when you look at them from the beginning. The Hawks, they had some things to work through last season. There was some issues between Trae Young and the coach. DeJounte Murray, with DeJounte Murray, last season, when he was traded to the Hawks, I did feel as though he would have been a good fit for the New York Knicks, right? I know there were people who were wondering, like, okay, why would he be next to Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson is the primary ball handler, boom, boom, boom. DeJounte Murray, we know when he was in San Antonio, he was the primary ball handler, but he's proven he can play off the ball as well. Brunson can also play off the ball. DeJounte Murray is a really, 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 really good defender, ladies and gentlemen. He's a very good defender. And you need to have that kind of defense next to Jalen Brunson. All right, you got to have that kind of defense next to him. So I did think it would have been a good match. But as time went on and we got to learn a little bit about DeJounte Murray, I started to question his character just a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, there were just a few things that I seen that made me say, oh, you know, what's going on with DeJounte? Just some things that I seen, you know, after the trade. You know, I guess he was, you know, kind of disgruntled about anything going on in San Antonio, right? Disgruntled with Greg Popovich. Wasn't happy with Pop at all. I don't know. It left me with a few question marks and made me wonder, you know, I was already wondering why Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs would want to trade DeJounte Murray. I thought I started to learn a little bit more. You know what I mean? I learned a little bit more about him and maybe started to see why. Nevertheless, he's a good basketball player. He can play some defense, get a lot of steals. He can shoot the three. He can pull up in the mid-range. You know, that makes a tough duo for sure. Makes a tough duo. But again, looking at the lineups, I mean, Trae Young and Jalen Brunson, you would think that they would. Knicks 100, the GM said, Pop ain't no angel either. I agree with you. You know, but Pop is Pop. He's got to, you know, he wins ball games. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? But Jalen Brunson and Trae Young, they should play each other to a duel. Right? They should play each other to a duel. Neither one of them are, you know, crazy defenders. Both of them can get off offensively. You know, Trae Young, you got to be, the brother can get hot. There's no doubt about it. Trae Young can get hot. Obviously, Jalen Brunson can get hot as well. All right, so, you know, that's going to be, that's probably my key matchup of the night. We'll talk about it just a little bit more. Quentin Grimes, DeJounte Murray, and I'm not saying that they're going to exactly match up this way, but they might. They might. DeJounte Murray, though, Quentin Grimes, listen, I think the Knicks, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but I think the Knicks need to get Quentin Grimes more involved, especially when you have a guy like DeJounte Murray who will probably be defending him. Or DeJounte Murray could defend R.J. Barrett. We'll see how they decide to mix up the matchups. Right? But if DeJounte Murray is defending Quentin Grimes, you got to make him work. You got to make him work. Right? Got to make him work a little bit. And how do you do that? You do that by finding Quentin Grimes, looking for Quentin Grimes. Pin downs, cuts to the basket, all of those things. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying. R.J. Barrett, DeAndre Hunter. I always liked DeAndre Hunter. You know what I mean? He's a good defender. He can shoot mid-range. I think he's a heady basketball player. That's a really good matchup right there. You know, R.J. Barrett, I think, should win the matchup. If he plays the way he played the other night when the Knicks played Boston, I think he should win that matchup. But listen, DeAndre Hunter, they could play to a duel. There's no doubt about that. DeAndre Hunter isn't going to get as many touches as R.J. Barrett, I don't think. I don't think he'll get as many touches as R.J. Barrett. But if he gets hot, then R.J. Barrett's got to be ready to defend. All right, but that's a good matchup to watch. I do think R.J. Barrett wins that matchup. Julius Randle and Sadiq Bey, I think Julius Randle should win that matchup, although that's a tough cover for Julius Randle, I think. Right? You guys know I like Sadiq Bey. I really think he's a good basketball player. He's not super duper fast, right? It's kind of slow, But he can post up, he can shoot the three, and he can defend. And he's strong. So listen, Julius Randle's not just going to run over Saddiq Bey. Right? He's not just going to run over Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey may be able to match him strength for strength, if that's what you want to call it, or just match his strength. Right? So that's going to be a challenge for Julius Randle because Saddiq Bey can shoot from the outside as well. So Julius Randle's going to have to be on his P's and Q's and defending Saddiq Bey on the outside. Right now, what helps out the Knicks, I think, is that Clint Capella is not a three-point shooter. We seen the other night, KP, three-point shooter, he got hot in that fourth quarter. He was hot in the first quarter, hot in the fourth quarter. And some of it's because the Knicks were doubling off of KP and leaving him to shoot. And then what would happen is Julius Randle would have to come from the corner to try to close out on KP. You know, he'd get there too late. And I'm not even blaming Randle on getting there too late because he'd kind of be caught in, you know, seeing if someone was coming through the baseline and then having to get out on KP. You know, it's a tough situation. I thought we should have stopped doubling off of KP, right? And because KP was the one that was killing us from the three-point line. Nevertheless, tonight, you don't have to worry about that with Clint Capella. But you do have to worry about the Clint Capella and Trae Young pick and roll, Clint Capella and DeJounte Murray pick and roll. Both of those guys can find Clint Capella. Right? The Knicks have always had trouble, you know, with this group, had trouble with the pick and roll. Now, you're not going to get much pick and pop with Clint Capella. I'm not even going to say not much. You're not going to get pick and pop with Clint Capella. Excuse me for stuttering. You're not going to get it. Right? So you don't have to worry about Julius Randle coming off of Saddiq Bey to try to defend Clint Capella the way he had to do with KP. But he may have to come off of Saddiq Bey to help stop Clint Capella from catching the pass as the roller. Because both of those guys can find him. They both have very good court awareness. Talking about Trae Young and DeJounte Murray. They both have very good court awareness. And they can find Clint Capella. Right? So, you know, we've got to Julius Randle's got to be on his P's and Q's guarding Saddiq Bey, not let him get off from that three-point line, not let him get loose from that three-point line. You know what I mean? And, you know, Saddiq Bey can post up a little bit as well. And I seen somebody say, you know, he's exactly the kind of player we're missing. I don't know if Saddiq Bey is exactly the kind of player, but he's the Knicks could use a guy like Saddiq Bey. You know what I mean? He's not the long three type. You know what I mean? If you're talking about a three, he's not that long kind of guy, but he is the type of power forward that could be in that second unit. No doubt about that. Right? He could fit perfectly in that second unit, but he's starting for the Atlanta Hawks. So, you know, why would he want to be in the second unit for the Knicks when he's starting for the Atlanta Hawks? And the Hawks could be, you know, the Hawks will be a good team this year. I don't know whether they're going to fall in the Eastern Conference. You know, they had a little bit of turmoil last year. They might be ready to rebound this year, right? We'll see. Then, of course, you got Clint Capella and Mitchell Robinson. Those two guys, in my opinion, should play to a duel as long as Mitchell Robinson stays on the floor. He was in foul trouble the previous game versus the Boston Celtics. All right, now look, last season, for the most part, Mitchell Robinson stayed on the floor. He stayed out of foul trouble. That game versus the Celtics was a tough one for Mitchell Robinson. It was a tough one because you had to deal with a guy like KP out on the perimeter. And, of course, Mitchell Robinson is, we've seen Mitchell Robinson be able to defend guys on the perimeter from time to time, but it's not something you want to do with Mitchell Robinson the entire game. And dealing with a guy like KP, who can shoot the ball from the perimeter, he can, put the ball on the floor a little bit, not a whole lot, a little bit. It proved to be a little bit of trouble for Mitchell Robinson, but I thought Isaiah Hartenstein did a really good job coming in when Mitchell Robinson with foul trouble, ladies and gentlemen. So those are your starting lineups. All right, let's take a look at the bench lineups, and then we're going to talk, after we look at the lineups, we'll talk about some matchups, but let's take a look at the bench lineups. All right. Wait a minute. I went to the wrong thing. There we go. Bench lineups. Lineups. Let me get over to the bench lineups. There we go. The bench units, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. You got Emmanuel quickly, Dante DiVincenzo, and then RJ Barrett. And I have him marked in yellow because RJ Barrett is a starter, ladies and gentlemen, but he's going to play with the bench. Then you got Josh Hart. You got Isaiah Hartenstein. For the Atlanta Hawks, I'm assuming they're going to have Young or Murray playing minutes or both, right? Staggering minutes, playing minutes with the bench. All right, so then you got Bogdanovich. You got Jalen Johnson, who I have on my fantasy team. Did work for me in the last game. Starting at that small forward spot, AJ Griffin, and then you got Okongwu. I want to just roll back for a second and talk about Johnson, because Johnson was a guy, the Knicks could have got this kid. I don't remember. Maybe it was Quentin Grimes who they drafted instead of Johnson, but the Knicks could have got him. That long, small forward that we're talking about, that's Jalen Johnson. All right, a couple of years ago, I forgot what it was. I don't know if it was injuries or whatever, the reasons that he didn't play, but he went to Duke. He didn't play, and so he dropped in the draft. But this kid is talented, and he's been hooping. He's somebody that the Knicks have to watch out for, in my opinion. They got to watch out for that guy. He's coming on. He's coming on, and he had 21 points the last game. Looking at these benches, though, I'm not ready to just straight up say that the Knicks have straight up the upper hand. I don't know. Bogdanovich, we know what he can do. He can shoot the ball. He can go off the dribble a little bit. He's a good ball player. Just talked to you about Jalen Johnson. Now, RJ Barrett's going to have to deal with him. AJ Griffin, another Duke guy. You know what I mean? Straight up power forward. He can shoot the three. Right? Defend a little bit. Josh Hart. Similar type players, but AJ Griffin is taller than Josh Hart. And I think AJ Griffin has a little bit more offensive ability than Josh Hart, maybe, in creating his own shot. Then you got Hartenstein and Okongwu. Okongwu's a guy that can, play some defense, rebound the ball. We know what Hart can do. This is going to be a pretty good basketball game, in my opinion, folks. Right? I think it's going to be a good basketball game. I'm not exactly sure your starting lineups, bench units. I'm not exactly sure if one team in particular has an upper hand in this particular basketball game. A lot of people are going to look and say, come on, it's the Knicks. Not sure. That's all I can say. I'm not sure. I think that these bench units are, not the bench units, these lineups seem to be pretty evenly matched to me. It may come down to chemistry, continuity, coaching. They've got more new people, I guess you could say, in their lineups than the Knicks do. But the Knicks, they got a couple of guys in the lineups that Dante DiVincenzo, he's new to the lineup. And he's yet to figure it out, if you want to say. And I do want to talk about Dante. As we know, Dante DiVincenzo got fined $2,000. I think it was, silly. I don't want to say silly fine, but he shouldn't have gotten fined. I guess. Well, maybe he should have. I don't know. Apparently, even if the flopping foul, I don't know if it's foul, but if you flopping was not called in the game, they can still go back and look at it and then call the flop. So that's what happened with Dante DiVincenzo. That's why he got fined $2,000. I don't even know if I mentioned that earlier. All right. And you see, I have my topics on the injury report. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no injuries to report for the Knicks. For the Atlanta Hawks, Wesley Matthews is out. All right, but Dante DiVincenzo fined $2,000 for flopping. The Knicks, I guess, listen, all players in the NBA just got to be a little bit careful. The referees are calling these flops. It's something that they're paying attention to. I'm going to say this. It may be too hard for them to call a flop in the middle of a game and get the call right. Too much action going on. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think if they notice a potential flop, they need to communicate with someone, say, hey, I think that was a flop. Let's mark it down. We're going to go back and look at it. The same way they do with other plays, right? The same way they do with when someone shoots a three, and if they think the foot was on the line, they go back and review it during a dead ball. Same thing I think should happen with these flopping calls, because I just can't see that the referees are going to be able to make the right call with the speed of the game. I don't see it happening. I think they should mark it down. Then when there's a dead ball, stoppage in play, go check it out. Then you can assess the technical foul. At least you get the call right. And when you go back and look at it, you're not looking at anything else except for the flop. And if you find, like, what happened with Jalen Brunson, you say, okay, we're not going to call it a flop. And then just recognize, hey, this is what he did. Anyway, Dante DiVincenzo, I got into that little diatribe because I'm talking about Dante DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo, we need this guy to step up and play. I'm not worried yet. I still think that he's going to step up. I still think he's going to become a big part of this team and a big part of the Knicks offense. I'm just waiting to see it. I'm just waiting to see the glimpse of it. That's what I'm waiting for, the glimpse. When do we see the glimpse? I thought I saw a couple of glimpses during preseason, but it wasn't consistent enough. The Knicks are going to need Dante DiVincenzo to play and play well. He played 15 minutes last game, mainly because he just wasn't really productive. Just wasn't really productive. Tom Thibodeau did what he had to do. I thought Tom Thibodeau did a good job of letting lineups play that are playing well. I think Tom Thibodeau is way more confident and comfortable in this unit, this rotation, this lineup of players. See, in the past, I don't know how comfortable he was with everybody. So if a team was playing well, he kind of felt like, this is going to stop soon. Let me get my guys back in. But I felt like he was more comfortable. And when the second unit against Boston started to play well and they got the team back in it, he didn't automatically, he let them play a little bit longer. in the second half. He didn't bring RJ back in until 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, which was the right call. Even though RJ was playing well, RJ did nothing wrong, but the lineup that was on the floor was playing well. So you don't want to mess with that unit, with that lineup when they're playing well. We'll see if Tom Thibodeau has the heart to continue doing that for the remainder of the season. Right. Big shout out to my man Kashif. Thank you for hitting me up on Cash App. I really do appreciate it. He said, don't let them stop you. Keep bringing the fire. That's exactly what I plan to do, Kashif, man. I plan to keep bringing it. You know what I mean? And we'll figure out other ways. I'll figure out other ways, but I'm going to continue to produce content and even more content. You know what I mean? Not going to won't let them hold me down. I feel like Diddy right now. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, who are just joining me, you know, as you can see, as it says with the video below me, my channel was demonetized. Right? So, you know, to help me along, I got my Cash App up and those things. You know what I mean? So if you, if you want to help support the channel, you can see my Cash App, you see my PayPal. You know, I don't like saying it every time. That's why I got that below, because I don't want to keep saying it. You know, but it's there. Thank you. I appreciate you, Kashif. And he's not the only person. Kyle Robinson, I appreciate you. Kadeem Doy, appreciate you. Esau Williams, Donald Cannon, Irvin Vasquez, Brian Burke. These were a couple of days ago. I appreciate you all. Thank you for your support. You know, I wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. In this bench unit, although Trae Young, DeJounte Murray are not bench players, they're starters. That's why they're highlighted in yellow. I'm looking forward to seeing the Quickly and Trae Young matchup. I think that, you know, a couple of years ago in the playoffs, it was a very good matchup. Emmanuel Quickly, you know, played, you know, this was Emmanuel Quickly's rookie year. He played some great defense on, Trae Young in the playoffs that year, even though the Knicks lost, even throughout the season. I think he's a very good matchup for Trae Young. He's a better defender now than he was then. And he's a better offensive player now than he was then. Emmanuel Quickly had 24 points last game. Him and RJ Barrett were the leading scorers, but Emmanuel Quickly was the best player, I thought, on the floor. Well, not on the floor, the best player for the Knicks that night. RJ just a step behind. But offensively, I thought Emmanuel Quickly was the best player for the Knicks against the Boston Celtics. Thought he played a really good floor game. You know, he wasn't just taking up wild shots. I thought he did a very good job. For those who maybe are basketball coaches or had a lot of basketball coaching, you probably know what a retreat dribble is. And some people who, you know, maybe aren't coaches or been through a lot of coaching might know what a retreat dribble is. But a retreat dribble is simple. You get into trouble, keep the ball on you know, away from the defender, hand out, and you're retreating. You're dribbling backwards. I thought he did a good job of doing that against the Celtics. He'd go to penetrate into the lane, see it's clogged, retreat, get reset, and then get the play started or create for himself. Thought he did a really, really good job doing that. But I also think he did a good job not taking wild shots, not taking crazy shots. Played very, very under control. And I think if Emmanuel Quickly can play under control the way that he did against the Celtics, it's going to be a hell of a season for Quickly. A hell of a season. You know, we talk about that contract. That contract will be coming in with a lot of dollar signs behind it. Think what I'm saying? A lot of dollar signs behind it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that Quickly and Young matchup because I think it's definitely, you know, Emmanuel Quickly will be guarding Trae Young, especially if we get down into the fourth quarter. Emmanuel Quickly will most likely be on Trae Young. I'll say he'll be on Trae Young or whoever is hot. You know, if Young isn't hot, he might be on Murray. But when we're playing a duo like this, though, Here's where the questions really do start to come in. Because Quickly can guard either Young or Murray. Right, let's go back to the starting lineup for just a second. Quickly can guard either Young or Murray. And Quentin Grimes is probably a better guard for, is probably better guarding Murray than Young. But, he's a good defender that can guard either one of them. How do you feel about Jalen Brunson, though, being on either one of those guys coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter? Listen, Jalen Brunson works hard. He plays hard. You know what I mean? He just doesn't have the natural speed, I think, that allows him to, stay in front of guys like Trae Young. He might be a better matchup against DeJounte. I was about to say Jamal Murray. That takes you back. But DeJounte Murray, he might be a good matchup for him, but DeJounte Murray can shoot over top. So where do you go with Jalen Brunson in that fourth quarter lineup? Is what I'm asking. Right? If he's hot, you need him out there, no doubt about it. But where do you go? Who does he guard? Who does he defend? I don't know if they're going to come back with their starting lineup. These are the starting lineups here. Right? We know for the Knicks, Emmanuel Quickly is probably going to be out there on the floor. Maybe for RJ. Where does Brunson go? You put him on DeAndre Hunter? Do you put him on Sadiq Bey? That's something that I'm going to be watching for. Right? Tom Thibodeau doesn't use his own. He doesn't use his own. So you can't hide him in his zone. I don't know. It's something to think about. Something to think about. I'll be watching, and as the season progresses, it's going to be something to watch. Because Emmanuel Quickly, especially if he's playing offense the way he played against Boston, people are going to say, put him out there on the floor instead of Brunson. But you need Brunson out there on the floor. You need him on the floor because of what he brings on the offensive side. I still think he's a better offensive player than Emmanuel Quickly, at least right now. We'll see what Quickly does. But at least right now, I still think he's a better offensive player than Quickly. He's more efficient than Emmanuel Quickly. Now, if Quickly does what he did last night or against Boston, then, he's going to prove to be just as efficient. You know what I mean? So, this is going to be something to watch. Bo Ishmael asked a good question. He said if Brunson has trouble defensively, how is he a superstar? Well, there's a lot of players that are not that good defensively, and they're still stars, still superstars, right? Kyrie Irving's not that great defensively. You know what I mean? It's not that great. He's a superstar. Julius Caesar. Is Dame not a superstar? Exactly. I agree with you, Julu. Right? Dame is not that great of a defender, but he's still a superstar. Right? So, I don't know. Listen, when you talk about superstars in the NBA, it starts to boil down to what? Offense. Can they get it done on the offensive side? Right? That's what it boils down to, offense. Can they, do they close games? Do they hit the big shots when you need them to hit big shots? Do they make plays, though? Even if they're not this super duper defensive guy, do they make plays? Jalen Brunson makes plays. Right? He's not a great defender, but you've seen him get a big steal against Boston. Got a big steal against Boston. He makes plays. That's what a superstar does. Even if they're not this super duper great defender, they make plays. You know what I mean? House of Flan said Kyrie isn't a winning player. You're right, but that's not because he's not a superstar. He's not a winning player because of his other antics, right? Other antics. That's what makes, that's the problem with Kyrie. All right, let's stick with the matchups, though. Continue talking about matchups. That Jalen Brunson and Trae Young matchup, I think, is going to be a big matchup. Right, of course. That's a huge matchup. There's no doubt about it. I think Jalen Brunson is going to give Trae Young all that he can handle offensively. Trae Young is going to do the same thing with Jalen Brunson. And when you look at these lineups, you almost have no choice but to have Jalen Brunson guarding Trae Young. Tom Thibodeau is not going to start Emmanuel quickly. He's not going to change the lineup so that he can, put quickly on Trae Young. Jalen Brunson is going to have to guard Trae Young. And this is my key matchup of the night. Even coming down the stretch, it's going to be my key matchup. Quentin Grimes, you can't. I doubt that you're going to put Quentin Grimes on Trae Young and then Jalen Brunson on DeJounte Murray. It's possible, but Murray has a good mid-range jump shot. He can also go off the dribble. He can shoot over top of Brunson. Trae Young is a little bit smaller than DeJounte Murray, but obviously, he's a tough guy to handle off the dribble. And obviously, with Clint Capella setting screens, that's going to be difficult for the Knicks. No matter who's guarding them, it's going to be difficult for the Knicks. Very difficult for the Knicks. But that's my key matchup. That's the matchup I'm really watching. I'm also watching this Julius Randle and Sadiq Bey matchup because I think Sadiq Bey can give Julius Randle some trouble. He's just as strong as Julius Randle. He can post a little bit. He can shoot the three. That's going to be a big matchup right there, in my opinion. Right? Who wins what matchup? I think Trae Young and Jalen Brunson. We talked about it earlier, but Trae Young and Jalen Brunson probably offset each other. DeJounte Murray probably wins the matchup with Quentin Grimes. I'm hoping that RJ Barrett wins his matchup with Hunter. Julius Randle should win his matchup with Sadiq Bey. Mitchell Robinson and Clint Capella offset each other. Right? And then, of course, you got some guys who could be X factors out there. Quickly is an X factor. Bogdanovich is an X factor for the Atlanta Hawks. Jalen Johnson is an X factor for the Atlanta Hawks. I'm telling you, that kid is going to be a starter for this team one day. He can hoop. He can ball. You know what I mean? He's going to be an X factor for the Hawks. For the Knicks, Josh Hart, we need him out there doing the things that he does. Don't be afraid to shoot the ball. And I want to see Hartenstein pull Okongwu out the paint. Right? Pull him out the paint. See if we can get DiVincenzo cutting off the ball. Josh Hart cutting off the ball. RJ Barrett cutting off the ball. We got to utilize that skill. Utilize it. And Julius Caesar said IQ, X factor. No doubt about it. IQ is definitely one of those X factors. A big X factor for the New York Knicks. If IQ goes off the way he did against Boston and Brunson and Randle have a good game, the Knicks should win. The Knicks should win. You know what I mean? I don't know, in that first game, listen, the Knicks had Boston right there, and their best players didn't play well. The Knicks literally outplayed Boston in every single category, except for free throw shooting and shooting from 2-point range. Other than that, they outplayed them in every single category. So the Knicks got to be, they got to be ready to step in. Got to be ready to step up. Let's talk about some keys to the game, ladies and gentlemen. And my first key to the game is Brunson and Randle. They got to shoot the ball better. Neither one of those guys shot the ball well from two in the previous game. Neither one of them did. They both shot 37.5% from the three-point line. That's respectable. But then they both went like below 40% from the field altogether. The Knicks need, these guys got to step up every night. Now, if you're going to get R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly do what they did every night, then the Knicks will still be in games. But eventually, they're not. The Knicks are going to need these guys to step up. They need them to step up. So I'm expecting I'm expecting both of these guys to have a rebound game tonight and play well. That way, they can calm some of the fears of some of our Knicks fans. We got some fears out there. Play well. Make free throws and make shots. We just talked about it. Make free throws, make shots. Again, the Knicks shot the ball very well from the three-point line. 44%. 44%, ladies and gentlemen, from the three-point line against the Boston Celtics. 37% from the field. So if they've shot 43.9% from the three-point line, how bad did they shoot from two to only shoot 37.1% from the field altogether? Right, so the Knicks have got to shoot the ball better. They got to shoot the ball better from the field. And, and I'm going to start with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. I'm going to start with those two guys. Free throw line. The Knicks shot 53.8% from the free throw line against the Boston Celtics. You're not going to win basketball games. The only way you're going to win basketball games shooting that way is if you're blowing the team out. So that team must be shooting extremely bad from the field. Right? It's just not going to happen. You can't shoot 53.8% from the field, from the three-point line and expect to win a basketball game. Expect to win a tight basketball game. Let's put it like that. Right? Let's put it like that. The Knicks, 24 assists. On 37% shooting from the field, the Knicks had 24 assists. Not bad. 9 steals for the Knicks. 9 turnovers for the Knicks. For the Atlanta Hawks in their first game, 24 assists as well. 12 steals, 1 block, 12 turnovers. They shot 41.9% from the field, but only 17% from three. I would not expect that to happen again. I am not expecting them to shoot 17% from the three-point line, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the Knicks, don't sleep on it. The Knicks have got to guard that three-point line if they want to win tonight. We don't want those same problems we had in the past where, and we've seen it in the preseason already, but those same problems as to where the Knicks can't guard the three-point line and then they can't make a three. Now, against Boston, the Knicks guarded, KP killed us from the three-point line, but Boston only shot 30.8% from the three-point line. So it was really just KP, and then the Knicks shot 43.9% from the three-point line. It's that free throw shooting that really killed us. So the Knicks got to make shots, ladies and gentlemen. They got to make shots. Points in the paint. The Knicks, 24 points in the paint versus Boston. Atlanta had 58 points in the paint. It's hard to keep Trey Young out the paint. It's hard to stop that pick and roll between Clint Capella and Trey Young. DeJounte Murray can get the paint. I don't know why I keep on saying guys' names messed up. This team can also get out and run on a fast break. 19 fast break points for the Atlanta Hawks in their previous game. Only 7 for the New York Knicks. Now, of course, the Knicks were playing a team that that could very well be top 3 in the NBA. So, obviously there's a difference there. In the preseason, the Knicks did a good job on the fast break. I'd love to see them be able to fast break against this team. But we got to shoot the ball well, ladies and gentlemen. Right? We got to shoot the ball well to win this basketball game. From the three-point line and from the field. All right, let's go back to these keys of the game. Let's see. We got free throws. We got field goals. And somebody asked, what is the channel being demonized? It's not demonized. It's demonetized. It feels like it's demonized, but it's demonetized, my friend. All right. Get Grimes involved. The Knicks got to get Quentin Grimes involved in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Quentin Grimes involved in the game. And this is not just for this game. This is for the season. For the season. We got to get Grimes more involved. Tonight, he's playing against a guy in Jamal Murray. I'm assuming playing against Jamal Murray, defending against Jamal Murray, right? We need to get Jamal Murray. DeJounte Murray. I'm all over the place. Right? DeJounte Murray. We're going against DeJounte Murray. We got to make him work too. He's got to be fearful that Quentin Grimes is going to knock down some threes if he's guarding Quentin Grimes. Because DeJounte Murray is going to get in. He's going to get his hands in the passing lanes. And you don't want him lurking. We want him to have to pay attention to Grimes if he's guarding Grimes, which might be the best matchup for him right now. Unless they put him on, they might put him on Jalen Brunson, which if he's on Jalen Brunson, then yes, he's going to have to, he's got to respect Jalen Brunson, right? So he won't be lurking as much because he'll be on the ball. Right, Vaughn Allen said Murray will be on JB. So he won't be lurking as much, he'll be on the ball. But then still, you want to make Trae Young work. Either one of those guards are going to be defending Quentin Grimes. You got to make him work. Trae Young's not a great defender. So let's see if we can get him sleeping on Quentin Grimes, sleeping on his closeouts, or not closing out Quentin Grimes. Boom. Couple of shots. Knock down a couple of them joints. Let's pay attention to Quentin Grimes because he could be in that starting unit. This could be a night. This could be a good night for him. If Trae Young is guarding Quentin Grimes, it could be a good night for him, in my opinion. The Knicks got to look for him. They got to find him. They got to get this young man involved. But not just tonight, for the entire season. We need pin downs. We need cuts to the basket. Not just him standing out and waiting at the three-point line. We need to get him involved a little bit more, in my opinion. Guard the pick and roll. We already know that. We already know that pick and roll can be very deadly. Right? It's just tough to guard. Because Trae Young can shoot it, he can pull it from three. He can pull the mid-range. He can float it. He can get to the basket. He can also pass to the roller, and he can pass to the guys spotting up. So we've got to play very good pick and roll defense in this game, in my opinion. If we allow this pick and roll to eat us up, we'll be in trouble. So we got to figure out how to play some good pick and roll defense tonight against this team here. Listen, Mitchell Robinson's, he's seen a lot of pick and roll between Trae Young and Clint Capella. Jalen Brunson, he should have seen a lot of pick and roll just being in the league, playing against other point guards that play a lot of pick and roll. He's smart. He's intelligent. The Knicks got to be able to defend it. I thought the Knicks played really good defense against the Boston Celtics. against a team with a lot of firepower. But matchups sometimes makes games, and the Knicks, they match up well against the Celtics, even though now they got a shooter out there in KP from that center spot. They still match up well against them. This is a team, in my opinion, they have not matched up well against this team, and part of it is because of Trae Young, Clint Capella in that pick and roll. So, tonight's we need to guard that pick and roll tonight. Protect the ball. Because DeJounte Murray will steal. He'll get steals. He'll get a lot of steals. The Atlanta Hawks had, 12 steals in their previous game. I'm not sure I don't remember who they played. I'll look it up. But they had 12 steals, ladies and gentlemen. And DeJounte Murray loves to get his hands in the passing lanes. This is one of the reasons why guys like Jalen Brunson, if DeJounte Murray is guarding them, or Quentin Grimes, if DeJounte Murray is guarding them, you got to be a threat. You got to be a threat. Because you don't want him lurking in the paint, lurking, in help side defense. Because if he's lurking, he's going to get steals. And those steals are going to lead to fast breaks. All right, and this is a team that can fast break. All right, Atlanta lost to Charlotte in the first game, 116-110. All right, and DeJounte Murray had no steals in that game, but he can get steals. Just because he didn't have any doesn't mean he can't get them. All right, he's a very good defender. We don't want to get these guys off and running, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so that's my last key to the game. Protect the ball. So we got to get Brunson and Randall. Those guys got to get off. They got to shoot the ball better. We got to make our free throws and make shots. We got to get Quentin Grimes involved, guard the pick and roll, and protect the basketball. Those are my keys to tonight's game. And I think if we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we get a win. I think if we do it, we get a win. It's not going to be an easy one. You know what I mean? And listen, I don't want to go down 0-2 on the season, but neither do the Atlanta Hawks. They don't want to go down 0-2 either. All right, so this is going to be a battle. Now, to be honest with you, I do like that this game is in Atlanta. Right? Trae Young would have came to the Garden after taking a loss to Charlotte, come to the Garden and feel like, yeah, this is my time. I'm about to show out. So with this game being in Atlanta, you know how Knicks fans are in Atlanta. A lot of Knicks fans in Atlanta. The Knicks get away from the Garden. I think the Knicks are comfortable playing in Atlanta. Feel comfortable playing there. So, I'm not too worried about this game being in Atlanta. Might even be good for the Knicks. The Knicks do these things. I'm predicting that the Knicks win tonight, though. I think their defense is going to. I think this Knicks team is going to be very good defensively. I think we'll be very good defensively. Just from what I've seen in Boston, man, they don't stop playing. Not in Boston. When they played Boston, they don't stop playing. They play hard. And they fight for everything. And I don't know if Atlanta is built that way. A couple of guys are built that way. But for the most part, I don't know if they're built that way. So I think the Knicks, I think their hustle, I think their toughness should bring them to victory tonight, in my opinion. Looking forward to the game, though. My holy king said, you competed with Boston, the Knicks are not bad. No, the Knicks are not bad at all. The Knicks are a good basketball team. Right? The Knicks are a good basketball team. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, for sponsorship opportunities or a chance to advertise on the channel, please hit me up on my email, srussell@nothingbutknicks.com. We'll talk about what your business is. We'll talk about some other creative ways that we can, that we can market your business here on the channel. All right, some really creative ways. I got a lot of creative ideas, a lot of things that ways that I think I can help your business. Same way you're helping my business. All right, so hit me up if you own a business and you'd like to advertise. Hit me up, srussell@nothingbutnicks.com. I'll have packages on my website soon. Right now it's being revamped, but I'll have packages on the website soon where you can look at them and read through them. But up until then, hit me up and we can talk about it. We can talk about it. I mean, if you want to support the channel, ladies and gentlemen, it's been demonetized at least until January 23rd or later. You want to support the channel, hit me up on Cash App. You'll see all the information below me there, right? $ nothing but Knicks, paypal.me/nothing but Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. I do want to let you know, man, next Wednesday, obviously next week, Wednesday, the Knicks play the Cavs at home in New York. And we'll be there. We got about 50 people going to the game. And for those who are coming to the game, you should have already gotten your tickets in the email. All right. Be on the lookout for a link where, we'll have just a little meeting to talk about, to talk about the agenda and the itinerary for the game. All right. So make sure that you be on the lookout for that email. We'll have a Zoom meeting. We'll meet for about a half an hour to talk about those things. But on November the 1st, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be having a pregame show at Legends. Please come down and support. Pregame show at Legends. Die Hard Knicks is going to stay at Legends and call the game at Legends. So you might as well come to the pregame. If you're not going to the game, stay there, watch the game, chill out with Die Hard. And then we'll be back at Legends to do a post-game show. All right, so that's going to be dope. All right, of course, it's free of charge. So, come on through. Come on through and join us, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good time. All right. But I'm going to get up out of here, folks. I will see you about 10:30 this evening. All right. Hopefully, we'll be doing a Knicks win. Hopefully, we'll be doing a Losers Lounge with my man Tony. Well, we'll be doing it either way. We couldn't do it with Boston because I was on the road. I was driving back. You know what I'm saying? So we couldn't do the Losers Lounge. But we'll be doing a Losers Lounge tonight after the post-game show. So make sure that you check us out tonight. Enjoy the basketball game, ladies and gentlemen. I got a few things coming up this season that, I'll be letting you know about, later on down the line. But a few things happening that I think you'll all be excited about. We'll all be able to, just enjoy the Knicks a little bit more from some things that we're doing. But anyway, I'm out. I will see you later on tonight. And be easy, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the basketball game. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's Number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.